Hi, my name is John Nowakowski, and I went vegan in the year 1996. I was having chest pains and thought it could have been from stress, but then when they did a blood test on me, found out that my cholesterol was pretty high, and so I needed to work on it. And at that point, I was a chef at the Marco Island Marriott, working 6 days a week, 12-hour days, and I thought it was more stress-related, but it was also dietary. I was in the hotel business. What do you serve in the hotel business? Lots of protein products, cases of heavy cream, so it would lead to a natural elevation of your cholesterol levels, and combined with that and the hours and the stress, it took its toll. I started working at the Regency Health Spa in 1995 with Dr. Frank Sabatino, and we were there for 20 years, and after 6 months of eating that way, cooking that way, I realized there were some benefits here, and it showed in all walks of my life.
After you started having these experiences with your heart, you started working with Frank?
At the Regency Health Spa, Frank was the health director there, and I became the executive chef.
Yeah. Was it just a coincidence?
No, because leading up to, before I got with the Regency Health Spa, I worked in food service with Gardner Merchant Food Services, which is a division of Trust House Forte. And there for 4 years, from 89 to 93, we were doing heart healthy cooking. So I was already doing low fat, low sodium cooking. So by going to the Regency Health Spa was just an evolution of what I was doing already, and it fit right into with my lifestyle.
How did you know that this was the way to go? What made you decide that?
Lots of reading. That's the one thing as a chef, you're always looking for new recipes and new techniques and things. So this business is always changing. There was a lot of things I never worked with before. Never worked with tempeh or silken tofu or seitan before. So it was really great to try some new styles of cooking, new methods.
So you started getting chest pains. I'm still trying to get clarification on how you progressed from not knowing how to eat to knowing how to eat for your health.
Obviously, if your cholesterol is high, you want to eat foods that are without cholesterol or foods that can contribute to lowering your cholesterol, right?
Yeah, but there's people right now that are going in the opposite direction of that.
I had multiple doctors write me prescriptions for statin drugs because my cholesterol was high, but I never used them. I know how they affect your liver and the body aches and pains that go along with that, so I didn't want any of those side effects. So I figured food was the way to go. So what's the old expression? Let food be your medicine, let your medicine be your food. So that's the route that I took.
Yeah. Did you have any physiological, mental, or like emotional changes after doing this right away that you could share with us?
Well, other than that, the chest pains, I didn't have any. I was still in my 30s. I was, vibrant, and I've always been an athlete since I was a toddler, always playing sports. So physique-wise, I think I lost an inch or so on my waist from getting away from all the saturated fats. But aside from that, it was just, I think eating this way, you gain more energy from plant-based, from all the nutrients that are in your foods. So that made a difference too.
Prior to this, you were kind of on a standard American diet? Yeah. And then part of you intuitively knew, hey, I got to get cholesterol out of my diet, go whole plant foods.
Live a long, healthy life.
Yeah. And Frank, how did you meet him?
Dr. Frank was a health director at the Regency. So for my first month there, I went to all his daily seminars just to get as much information as I could, and he was a great supporter for the things that we accomplished at the Regency.
And for 20 years you worked there.
Yeah, it was a blast.
That's a long time. What was that like? I mean, did you see a lot of people go through changes?
Yes, obviously I was one of the first to notice myself. I started teaching cooking classes 3 days a week. So then you're showing people new techniques, and obviously I used my cooking classes also trying new things. So my clients in the class were the guinea pigs for the new things I was going to be trying. So what was fun is I was taking normal dishes, just say like a lasagna, and removing the animal products from it. And so instead of ricotta cheese, I made a tofu ricotta. So we would use the veggie cheeses over top to finish it off. So it had the same eye appeal as traditional lasagna, but it was better for you. Our customers are losing 5 to 10 pounds a week, so obviously this works.
Now, were these residential customers, or were they?
No, at the spa, people would come for a week, typically minimum, but we had clients who would stay for 2-3 months at a time during the winter months. I had one fellow stay for a year and lost 100 pounds.
Wow.
So
stayed for a whole year. Do you have any success stories that are really salient that you like to share with people?
To go towards the end when the Regency was closing in 2013, that last month I was calling all my friends, hey, listen, and we're only here for another month, you don't want to come on down. So a lot of clients came down, and there was a lot of tearful goodbyes, a lot of hugs, and the ladies thanking me for helping change their lives. And people lost 60 pounds living like this, and just a lot of tearful, grateful embraces the last month that we were there. And I never solicited those things. It was just people telling me how much we impacted their lives, which makes it very rewarding. Because in a hotel business, it's all about the dollars and cents and the volume. And in a health business, it's more about people getting healthier and improving their lives.
What kind of foods were you doing on a daily basis? Was it mostly just emulating these comfort foods, or was there just kind of just like simple things like fruits, vegetables?
Well, we started with breakfast. That's about as simple as you can get. A fresh fruit salad bar, tropical fruits, and oatmeal. Lunch is always, that was the great thing, is the lunch is a buffet, so you can eat as much salad as you want. So people got their money's worth on the salad bar. But we did learn a lesson, though, because we used to have a big fruit bar at breakfast time. And when you're in an all-inclusive resort, just like if you go on a cruise ship, you want to get your money's worth. So sometimes people were trying to get their money's worth on the breakfast buffet. And yes, fruits are good for you, but all those fruit sugars and all add up also. So we went to a plated breakfast with portion controls, calorie content of all the foods. So that way people can understand that, okay, you can have more, but this is the calories for the more part, So it allowed them to take control of their program more than just an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Yeah, it probably helps them get the proper variety too.
Yeah, and also it teaches them a portion size. Because a buffet is not about portion sizes. So we got lunch would be, a soup and salad bar. We'd make, we'd always have like an entree salad there, whether it be a fresh hummus, tempeh tuna salad, tofu egg salad. We'd find ways to make things work. And then, of course, dinner time, that's when we would take those traditional items and try to reinvent them so they were plant-based and healthier for you.
Right now, you're still doing this.
Well, I'm self-employed. My company's called Nowakowski Foods. And I ship my product line pretty much all over the country up until the Midwest. Because after that, things are pretty expensive. It becomes air freight and all that to go out to California. So the shipping will cost as much as the food. But I have a dozen organic soups and a dozen entrees, all plant-based. A couple salad dressings, including my famous tahini dressing that we'll be serving here at the hotel this week. And then a vegan cookie or two. And we ship dry ice when it's out of state. And I'll also deliver locally.
And you mentioned cookies off camera. What's with the cookies?
People that feel like they're deprived eating this way, if you can give them a low-calorie dessert, that usually will make it a little easier to take. Keep your desserts less than 100 calories and stay away from all the simple sugars. It'll do its job.
I was just at Whole Foods and I bought 18 cookies. They're vegan cookies, and each one's 100 calories. And it's so easy to eat like 3 or 4 of those really quick. And it's like, holy moly, that's just a lot of calories.
It's great for our weight loss business.
But eating whole plant foods, it's easy to just not even worry about calories, right? With you here and now, you have this product line, and do you also have a retreat center?
Yeah, I do a couple different things. We started doing our Nowakowski Beach Retreat on Hollywood Beach at the fabulous Sea Downs Resort. And it's a northern part of the beach, so it's North Hollywood Beach, so it's a little quieter. I call it the adult beach, the more mature beach. And we've been doing that. It'll be 4 years in August.
And that's a residential thing?
Well, typically it's a 7-night stay.
Yeah.
We do 7-night retreats.
Wow. And then what kind of people would go there? People
from all over the world. My clients come from Jamaica, Canada, England, all over the U.S. We have a few regulars that come to every retreat.
And is it just for fun, or is it to lose weight, or is it?
We make it fun. Obviously, we try to, it's not diet by deprivation. That's number one. And the clients that come have been regular customers from the Regency. I've known them 20, 25 years, so they're also my friends. So they have a pretty good idea of the program already. But, we have a, vegan breakfast. Then we'll have aqua zumba in the pool. I do cooking classes every day at noon. And then we have our, lunch buffet. We usually use some of the topics from the cooking class to serve on the buffet so people can see the finished product and then get a chance to try it. And then I do a juicing class every afternoon. We have an organic juicing menu, a really detailed menu that adjusts a lot of different organs in the body. So we have a kidney cleanse, we have a liver detox, we have a complexion cleanse, we have quite a few different juices. A lot of fun to work with. So we do a different juice every day during the juicing class. Then we have yoga every afternoon after the juicing class. And then in the evenings it's kind of fun. After dinner we'll do some kind of event, whether it's a local health lecturer, or we'll do sound drums on the beach, and we'll do a game night one night, Latin dance one night. So we try to make it fun.
You guys are living it up down there. Now we're at the National Health Association's 75th Annual Conference. How long have you been coming to this?
since the year 1999. I think it was at the DoubleTree Hotel in Fort Lauderdale that time. And then I joined when my friend introduced me to it, Dave Cherry. And been coming ever since. I joined the board of directors in year 2000, so 23 years on the board of directors. And we held quite a few events at the Regency Health Spa before it closed. And now we're back in Cleveland with Mark and Wanda Huberman.
Excellent. And why do you come to this every year? What's it about?
Well, it's about seeing old friends again. It's about the mission. And it's about supporting it. What's nice is you also get away from the rat race for 4 or 5 days. So I get a chance to work on myself a little bit, do some swimming, and and there's always something you learn new in these lectures.
Could you be with somebody who isn't vegan or plant-based?
Yes, but it's better to have someone that's like-minded for support, because I went through that. My kid's mom, when the first time I brought her into the Regency, she walks in, sees the salad bar, and just walked the other way. I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. So it's a little more challenging. But I'm a single dad now, and it's a little easier this way.
What about your kids? Are they trying to do this? Are they eating this way?
Oh, I want to use the word trying. My son is, if I use the word healthy,
not very fun.
It's not going to work. So I stopped telling him that. So if when I make my whole wheat spaghetti bolognese, I just tell them it's spaghetti and meat sauce. My daughter's a little more into it. Yeah, she likes my eggplant spinach rolatinis and my spinach manicotti, and so she's much more receptive. So.
Did you not start them off that way?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
For the first 5 years of my kids' lives, they were plant-based. But the babysitter was a really great Mexican cook. So she turned them on to some spicy Mexican foods, and they said, "Daddy, can you make your food a little spicier for us?" And
Well, I like my food spicy too. That doesn't involve animal though, right?
Right. But little kids, they don't need that many strong tasting things when they're toddlers. So mild works fine, but as they develop their palate, it's a different story.
So now, I guess, are they not plant-based now? And the reason why I'm asking is because I find it very exciting to see children being raised this way.
My daughter's pretty, I'm gonna say probably 80%. And then, they're with me for 3 weeks and they're back at their mom's house. So they get that 3-week cycle. We're going back and forth, but
so they're still trying to.
I'll bring some food over for Bella once in a while.
Yeah, it's a little harder when they go to grandparents or some other family member, and it's like, how do you control that?
Well, there's a lot of temptations out there. And that goes for the adults as well.
And how do you deal with those challenges?
Well, because I do this for a career, it's a lot easier for me to figure things out when you look at a menu. You know what you can ask for, but is not going to work. So experience is your best teacher, I think.
I guess it might be a struggle if, say, for example, your challenge is, I don't want my children eating this way, for example. Is that ever a problem, or do you not worry about that sort of thing from a parenting perspective?
I've never been a worrying parent. I'm probably careful might be the word for it. My house, it's like a restaurant sometimes, because my son wants one thing and my daughter wants another thing, So, but breakfast is always the easiest meal period because they're always going to eat fresh fruit. Thank God they love their fresh fruits.
Have there been any challenges along the way, personally, with doing this lifestyle?
Well, sourcing has been a challenge sometimes, especially since COVID hit. A lot of the products that we would find, you can't find in local markets, including Whole Foods. So thank God for Amazon. At least this way I can just let your fingers do the walking and get stuff at your doorstep. Like it was hard to find organic TVP. A lot of times legumes are hard to find. So fortunately, Amazon is able to fill those holes that I can't get from my production pretty easily. So.
But as far as like doing it personally, I guess it's not been a challenge at all, it seems like.
Well, I've always said once you know the rules to play by, it's easier to play this way. So you have to know, the do's and the don'ts and what products to avoid. And basically, if it's not in the house, you can't eat it, right?
Yeah, that makes it real easy. Beyond like your nuclear family, has that been a challenge at all?
My friends would, a couple of buddies might joke about it a little bit, but then I recall one time one of my buddies was joking about it, and next thing you know, he knocks on my door, and his cholesterol was 300, and he said, "Can I have your cookbook?" So quite often, sometimes the doctor has to help them make their decisions to change their lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you've been a good role model. Have you found anything in particular to be useful when trying to influence others that you could share with us?
Let them taste it, right? The proof is in the pudding. So that's the wonderful part, when you can see their faces. Wow, I think I can do this. Because when for years when the gals would bring their husband to the spa, their worry is like, My husband is not going to not eat meat for 7 days in a row. I know I can do it. So as a result, when we made those things like a lasagna or like an enchilada, and this looks authentic, people eat with their eyes. So I think appearance is very important when you're cooking this way. So if it looks like the real thing, chances are most people are going to think, well, it's going to taste like the real thing. But if you bastardize something and make an Alfredo sauce that looks dark and it's not tasty, I mean, you're going to lose your clients.
Yeah, a lot of people I know that have been doing this for a long time. They're not necessarily chefs or anything. They're just everyday people, and they've simplified it to the most basic things. And to me, that's like the healthiest way, like just the most simple things. Beans, greens, grains, fruits, veggies, mushrooms, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices. Simple, to me, that's just awesome.
And it's more fun that way. I have a bunch of buddies of mine that are great amateur chefs, and they're always into the cookbook. So it's actually more fun, where mine is maybe a little more mundane because I do this all day long. Cooking out of the house, but for the amateur chef, it's more exciting. As
a chef, do you feel like you're ever limited with the options you have, or have you found that going this way has enlightened you to a whole vast new array of foods and preparing things?
Well, if you go back to the early 90s, mid 90s, when I first started cooking heart healthy, it was very difficult to find these products in all the supermarkets. Mm-hmm. You could go to Whole Foods, but you were limited and your choices when you went outside of Whole Foods, right? Because now you can see all these products, like whether it's the alternative cheeses and tempehs and seitan products and things. You can find those in most supermarkets nowadays. Usually right next to the organic vegetables, the organic produce section is. So it's easier to find those things than it was back in the 90s. So the best thing now is the variety is better, the knowledge is better, and back in those days, I remember guests complaining about, well, I would buy celery or carrots at my store, and they're organic, but they're limp and rubbery. Why is that? So, I said, well, because the turnover is so slow. Mm-hmm. So now that there's more demand for organic celeries than the Dirty Dozen, and there's more demand for organic products, you're finding that they're more vibrant, they're fresher, they're crispy, and they're lively because they're turning them over faster than they did 30 years ago. So it's the volume that makes the difference.
As a chef, going from not being vegan to vegan, was the learning curve like something that you could help other chefs maybe imagine what it would be like and how to endure that?
I get those phone calls. Some buddies of mine that are chefs, John, I have this plant-based group coming in. Mm-hmm. What do I do with tempeh? What do I do with silken tofu? Mm-hmm. So we'll get those calls every once in a while.
Okay, here's the thing. I have a friend who owns some restaurants, and I'm like, man, don't you care about the health of your customers? And he's like, well, if people want to eat healthy, they eat at home. And I'm like, I want to eat healthy, and I don't always want to eat at home. How do you feel about all of that?
I think that's a narrow-minded message he just said to you. I like to study my competition. Mm-hmm. So when you're designing menus, what is everyone else doing? Not just for menu items, but the pricing and all that. So that's important. And if you look at the facts that less than 10% of our country is vegetarian or plant-based, but that number grows incrementally every year and probably even more so every decade. So knowing that there's a larger constituency of people that want to be plant-based, it's a really good idea to note that on your menu and also highlight it. Mm-hmm. I'm always big on when you do something great, talk about it. Mm-hmm. Don't sweep it under the carpet. Don't be shy about it. Let people know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And that's going to just grow your audience. And the more variety you have on your menu, the more often people will come there. So if you're limiting yourself, I know back in the day, last century, people would ask for a veggie plate in my hotels, and we give them a baked potato with some steamed vegetables. Well, the cuisine has come a long way now. You can do a lot more entertaining things for your plant-based clients.
I'm glad you said highlight, because a lot of times a restaurant will bring in a vegan item or something, say they didn't sell it, so I'll go back and it won't be there anymore. And I'm like, well, did anybody even know it was here? And a lot of times they don't highlight it, or it'll just be a separate menu that's there only if you ask for it. They don't tell people enough about why that menu item is there.
Well, how my menu's evolved in the hotel business. If I wanted to try something new, I would make it the nightly special. And if it became a big seller as a nightly special, then it became a candidate for my next menu. So I think you need to try these things as a chef, and even complimentary tastings. People love something for free. So if you're trying something new in your restaurant, have the server come out and this is compliments of the chef. People love that. So as you try new things, I always made sure that, when you tried your specials, that you would go back to your menu and take the items that had the lowest menu mix, right, the lowest percentage of sales. So if something was only like 2% of my menu mix sales-wise, then maybe that is the item that comes off the menu, and you replace that with one of your big sellers off of your nightly specials. And that's how your menu will evolve into being things that people like the most. And that's what you want. You want your menu to be something that everyone can like, and you want them to come back often. If you don't vary your menu like that, you know, you don't want someone to come there for one birthday a year. You want them to come, you know, once a month, once a week.
Yeah, that's why I think this way of eating is absolutely the best for somebody trying to run a restaurant, because the customers can eat there every day, and it's only going to make them healthy and want to eat there more frequently. If I'm going out to eat and I'm getting junk, I'm only going to want to do that maybe once every few months or something, right? But if I know it's healthy, I can eat it every day. Well, to me, that's just more business, right?
And that's where the education comes in.
Yeah.
You have to educate your clients as well.
I don't know if people really want to be healthy, honestly.
Well, my experiences in the retreat business and in the spa business is people come there to get their mojo back. And because we've given that experience to them before. So when they leave, and the retreats are good for me too. It's nice to get away. It's nice to be on the ocean and cooking and looking at the ocean every day than being back home working out of the house. So it's great for me as well. And it also helps reinforce them. So when they get back home, they're more driven to stay this way. And that's why we do these retreats every month or every other month, because the next thing you know, when you fall off the wagon, sometimes people need to come back to their safe zone and start again.
What kind of foods can a chef replace, like these everyday things that people eat, beef, chicken, whatever? Some things you could recommend, like I love a lentil loaf, and you mentioned the lasagna earlier, and you've mentioned tempeh. How can people substitute these things, and what kind of things can chefs look into as they may consider this?
Well, as I develop menus, I always look at, you know, you want to do one night Italian night, one night Mexican night, one night Asian style. So that way you're getting all these different cuisines, and you just find protein alternatives, right? So whether it's tempeh strips and a stir fry that might want to resemble a beef and a beef teriyaki, I mean, so you can use, you know, you can use a seitan product for that. You can braise tempeh. You can shred it and use it like a ground beef alternative in making chilies, things like that. So I always say, once you know the rules to play by, it's easier to play this way. So.
Now tempeh, some people might find that pungent, kind of like that might be a hard one for some people who are new to this, you know. Well,
tempeh and tofu are kind of flavorless, more or less. So it's up to the chef to flavor them up to make them palatable. So it's a little more neutral for me. I think the seitan's a little stronger because there's more of a soy sauce product in there that makes them a little saltier. Tempeh and tofu are a little blander. They're a little easier to work with to infuse different flavors in them.
What about maybe something else like banana blossoms, or maybe taking carrots and making some sort of bacon strips or something?
No, carrots though. We've done it with tempeh. We do tempeh bacon strips, and that was always a marinade with some some dried liquid aminos and some water, a little garlic, a little ginger, and you let it marinate for a couple hours. And then you bake them on a cookie sheet until they're crispy. What's revolutionized the kitchen, I think, this decade especially, is the air fryer. I do a lot of cooking classes, and I always make sure I spend a few minutes doing an air fryer class, because it's really a great helper. And especially as people get older and you're into you're empty nesters now, or you're single and you're flying solo, an air fryer is a great friend for the home chef, because it cooks quickly. It doesn't heat up your kitchen. So like if I'm making pita chips or croutons, you have to preheat an oven for 5-10 minutes, right? Bake them for 12 minutes. Hopefully you remember to turn your oven off. So it's probably about a 20-25 minute process. With the air fryer, you put those suckers in there, in 7 minutes they're done. So you look at the ease of preparation. That high heat cooking is good for searing. So people, especially the young people, when I do my classes, I find that most young people, when I say like college graduates, people in their 20s, they all use an air fryer more than they would use a conventional oven.
What are some other useful tools in the kitchen? Like, I like to recommend the Instant Pot and the Vitamix. You know, that thing's so amazing. Any other tools like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was never a big crock pot kind of guy, because I want things a little faster, so the Instant Pot serves that purpose. But when I was doing an interview with Chef AJ a couple of years ago, she asked me, what are your 2 favorite tools in the kitchen? And the one was the immersion blender.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Now, years ago, they had small little plastic ones, to make your little smoothies. I call it a housewife blender, but now they're much more powerful. So, I mean, not only you can make your smoothies, but, you make your salad dressings, your marinades, your sauces, and you puree it instantly, and it's easy to clean up. Yeah. With blenders, when I'm doing small quantities, that's when the immersion blender is the best thing for you. You're making maybe doing like 8 ounces of a marinade or something like that. because if you use a blender, it's a big cleaning process. So for small quantity production, I like the immersion blenders, and then of course my new man crush is the air fryer. That's so those are my two favorite new tools in the kitchen there.
As far as like dressings, I feel like that's an important thing because I mean salad to me is the most important meal of the day, and I make insane salads, like have a huge bowl and then I'll just throw everything in the kitchen. But to make it really flavorful, the dressing is the trick, right? I guess. Right?
I have said for my entire career, the secret's in the sauce.
Yeah.
If you make a good sauce, sometimes that sauce will cover up inferior products, right? But when you talk about salad bars, I mean, it was so much fun making new dressings for the salad bars. Fruit-based dressings, nut-based dressings, whether it's with a cashew cream or a tahini, peanut butter, they just make wonderful dressings as well. So typically, if you make a good sauce, it makes everything more palatable.
Like, is there like a couple of dressings that you could share with us that are really easy for people to throw together to make their own dressings?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect example is the avocado cucumber dressing, because most plant-based houses are going to have avocados and cucumbers around all the time. So, if you only use half a cucumber for your salad, peel it, use the other half, the half avocado, and puree it in a blender with some garlic, some lemon juice, squirt of Bragg's maybe, and I'll puree that, and the avocado is a natural thickener. And the cucumber will thin it out a little bit, but just remove the seeds. So that's always a fun dressing. There's another pineapple mustard dressing. Use the Hawaiian pineapples with some stone ground mustard, a little lemon juice, and that's always a good one. And then when you're using tomatoes, typically if your core tomato, you got the tops and the bottoms that are your tomato scraps. You can take your scraps from your tomatoes and make a tomato basil dressing, some balsamic, garlic, fresh herbs.
Nice. You mentioned you had a book.
Yeah, a couple of them. I wrote Vegetarian Magic. My first one I published in 1996 at the Regency, and then I wrote another one, same title because the publisher liked the title. The first one I self-published, and then in 2000 we came out with the second version of Vegetarian Magic. And now I'm working on my ebook. Because it's come so far, the industry's come so far, and as a chef, you're always learning something new. So I've learned a lot, especially with the SOS movement, to make healthier recipes going forward as well.
Is it hard to do this, no salt, oil, or sugar?
It goes back to once you know the rules to play by. So as far as salt products, I mean, it's a little misleading when you hear about using Bragg amino acids because that actually has more sodium than a low sodium tamari would have. You're better off with a low sodium tamari, but I'll use miso paste to flavor some soups up. And then Bragg's will be like a beef broth alternative when I'm making a mushroom sauce. But when I flavor things, I want my soups, I want my sauces to taste sweet. If they taste salty, you had a heavy hand. You think about a vegetable soup, there's carrots, cabbage, celery, once you cook them, they develop a little sweetness and flavor. So by finishing that off, maybe with a little bit of miso paste, and that's all you will need. And so you want your products to taste a little more on the sweet side.
And that book, Vegetarian Magic?
Yeah.
Is that something we can get on, I guess, Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's online. It's on my site, nowakowskifoods.com. We've sold not a lot, like over 15,000 copies, so I guess that's okay.
And as far as like your website, I guess they can find more about your retreats there?
Yes, it'll have the menu for my frozen food product line, and it'll have some stuff on the retreats.
Do you normally do these retreats just a few times a year, or is it like, do you always do it every other month? Or?
If you go back to 2018, when we started, 2019, we were doing one a month, and then this thing called COVID hit. So we did 6 in a row, and January of 2019 we sold it out, it was my best retreat ever, and then the stuff hit the fan, so to speak. So for a solid year and a half, it was mostly cancellations. Yeah. And then we're starting up again, so we were doing every other month. I did April and May retreats, took off June because of our conference here. Yeah. And my daughter is going to college as a freshman at the University of Florida this summer, so I'll be moving her up there. So we'll restart the retreats in September, middle of September, middle of October.
These retreats like this, once you go to one, you probably would have to go back. It seems like it would be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to an opportunity to go to one.
I'll give you an example. The last retreat I had in May, the ladies from the Regency stipulated we want an all-female retreat. So poor me. We had a dozen gals, and at the end of the week, they all made an oath to come back next May and do it all over again. So we want to roll it back again. And,
are you going to scale this up to be able to take the demand like that?
Actually, I like the quaintness. Usually it's typically between 10 and 15, 10 and 16 people. Okay. And so it's a suite that I would remove all the furniture and put in my banquet tables and chairs. Mm-hmm. And the great thing is I'm in the room cooking with the clients right there. Nice. And back in the restaurant hotel business, the chef's always hiding behind the wall, stick his head out every once in a while, you know. So now I'm in the room, so as I'm, you know, sometimes I'll just do pop-up cooking classes in the middle of dinner if it applies to, you know, the group. So that's a lot of fun. So yeah, we want to keep it, those numbers, you know, 12 to 15 people is a good number.
So you've been doing this for a long time. What kind of diseases have you acquired as a plant? You know, because I'm sure you're malnourished. You're probably having to take a lot of supplements and go to the doctor a lot and getting sick a few times a year, stuff like that.
You're probably talking to the wrong person. You never want to be supplement poor. You know what I mean? I'll take my vitamin D every morning, you know, but you don't want to be supplement poor.
Do you feel like you're as healthy and fit as you could ever be?
Oh no, this is a lifetime project here. But once again, you know, doing these things, this is a form of a retreat this weekend with the NHA. So it's a good reset.
Yeah, it is. I remember last year when I went, on the way home, I had a 9-10 hour drive. I stopped at a restaurant to get something to eat. And it was, I couldn't even put the food in my mouth. It was so salty, oily. It was like, I didn't realize how much I had reset my palate being here a few days. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they say usually it takes 2 weeks to break a habit, but we got 4 days to try it here. And, but fortunately, you know, when you're in a room like we are with 350 like-minded people, it's a lot easier to deliver the messages, and there's a lot better conversation taking place.
Yeah. Your health has improved dramatically. I mean, obviously, you're not having chest pains anymore, and it's been however many years later, let's see here, 27 years later, and you're not having to go to a cardiologist.
Well, if you look at the obesity epidemic, you know, you're just grateful that you're not like that, but it's still an epidemic, and so we still got a big message to deliver, and it's fun.
Do you have any quotes you want to share? Like any favorite quotes that relate to this?
We have to encourage people when they're shopping to understand label reading, right? And I always look at the first 5 ingredients, the prevalent ingredients, to make sure you understand what they are. So I was always like, as far as labeling, if you can't read it, don't eat it. You know, so that was always one.
I like that.
And then for the clients that come here and they have to go back to the real world, I always say it's a jungle out there, because the decisions are very difficult. So the more we empower them with knowledge, the easier it is for everyone to.
Excellent. If somebody wants to find out more, they can just go to your website. They can find you that way. Everything's right there. And
Nowakowskifoods.com, unless you want to call me direct at 954-439-0761. I'll be there for you.
Well, thanks so much for everything you're doing and your support and your time here.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.